Now I'd like to give you an introduction to item count and quantity count. First of all, what is item count? It's basically an enhancement to the filter process, defining a subsample of the population based on a specified number, and that might be of selected items or data characteristics. So for example, you might be looking at attitudinal statements regarding cars, fuel efficiency, reliability, etc. And you want to filter your table based on people who have at least 5 responses to those attitudinal statements. Alternatively, you might be looking for the demographic profile of people who have read at least 3 or more women's lifestyle magazines. Item count is particularly useful in a filter giving responses to multiple choice questions. And item counts may also be used in Profiler, setting up your target or your reference groups. And what is quantity count? Essentially, it's the same as item count, but this time you're using a quantity. It will of course depend on the types of quantities available to you within a database, and it'll only be available in databases which have quantities. So for example, you may look at the number of respondents who spent more than $500 on their last short trip, or the number of respondents who spent more than 14 nights away during their last long trip. This is the dialog box that you're looking for, the item count and the quantity count windows. So how do you access these windows? You can click and drag the variable or the number of groups to the filter area and the dialog box will pop up. Alternatively, if you have the filter area active, you can double click on the required item and again the dialog box will pop up. Finally, right mouse click is very useful. This allows you to choose and or not. And this is specifically if you have highlighted a selection of groups. Note that it's possible to combine item counts or quantity counts within a filter. To do this, you would need to right-click on the variable or the number of groups and select Add Selected Filter as a Count. Then you would specify the and or not as appropriate. There are a few limitations to consider with item count. First of all, if you have groups that are either summary or missing groups, these are excluded if they're selected as part of a variable, but if you choose them individually, they are included. And we'll have a look at that in Asteroid in a moment. Groups that are mean only are always excluded, and summary grid variables are not valid for item count. For quantity count, none of these limitations apply because they don't include these types of variables.